Continuing our coverage of upcoming space games, we've picked out 15 more titles slated for release in the near future. If you missed our previous video about the most anticipated space games coming later, you can watch it by clicking on the link in the upper right corner or find it in the description below. So without further delay, let's jump right in. Starting with number 15, we have Nebula, an open-world starship colony sim with RPG adventures in a galaxy with millions of explorable planets. Nebula was heavily inspired by RimWorld, Prison Architect, Dwarf Fortress, and other great games. You'll be able to build and fully customize your starship, explore millions of star systems and planets, complete various quests, collect materials, discover ancient secrets, and much more. All characters have a unique set of simulated characteristics that affect how they interact with the world and with each other. Each decision and interaction leads to a series of events that drastically change the course of the campaign. There are millions of explorable star systems, each of which provides a home for many unique planets with diverse properties and ecosystems, such as tropical paradises, frozen ice, or raging volcanic planets. Other notable features include customizable characters, different factions, a research tree, trading system, extensive mod support, and much more. The scope of the game is truly incredible. Almost everything is controlled by simulation systems. Nebula's carefully tuned procedural universe makes the possibilities and replay value practically infinite. Nebula is coming to Windows PC, with plans for Mac and Linux versions sometime after the early access. A closed beta phase will start in 2023. We can hopefully expect the full release sometime in 2024. Next up at number 14, there is Capital Command, a space simulation game in which you'll take command of a powerful capital ship that fights in the vastness of space. The capital ships are equipped with cutting-edge technology and are specialized in detecting, destroying, and defending against the enemy AI fleet. Gameplay consists of controlling various weapon and defense systems, maneuvering the ship, and assigning damage control teams to repair and bring damaged equipment back online. The ships move realistically and use 6 degrees of freedom. By efficiently adjusting pitch, roll, and yaw, you can take advantage of inertia in the vacuum of space. After combat, you can salvage resources and scrap from debris to repair and upgrade your ship. Capital Command is a pure single-player game with procedurally generated sandbox campaigns in which you'll fight for control over numerous sectors. It's a real shame that this game doesn't have at least some sort of multiplayer mode, since this approach and the promising setting could be perfect for some interesting and fast matches. Capital Command will be released for Windows PC. The release date has yet to be announced. Moving on to number 13, we have Nebulous Fleet Command, a real-time strategy simulation game in which players take control of frigates, cruisers, and destroyers, fighting for supremacy in space. Nebulous offers an unprecedented level of tactical decision-making on the battlefield. Use gas clouds and asteroids to hide your fleet from enemy sensor systems, while illuminators and fire control radars mark targets. Occlusion, passive signal detection, and balancing radar signature size make the battle for intel as vicious as firing missiles. To reduce distractions and ensure maximum focus on the battlefield, the developers decided to strip away any kind of economic management. You'll immediately rush into the battle space with your entire fleet ready to carry out your orders. Another interesting feature is the absence of health bars. Each ship is held together by its armor and its components. The damage model tracks where each shot hits, and depending on the position and type of armor, the components that hold the ship together suffer a certain amount of damage. Once a specific threshold is exceeded, the ship is destroyed. Nebulous offers a variety of game modes, including a single-player campaign, fleet versus fleet skirmishes, and a multiplayer mode. Extensive mod support and a full-fledged fleet editor are included from the start, allowing you to create your own ships, weapons, and maps. Due to slow-paced combat and the sheer amount of complex tactical decisions involved, we can see why this game might not be suited for everyone. Nebulous Fleet Command is currently in early access for Windows PC. The final release date is yet to be determined. At number 12, there is Flight of Nova, a hardcore space and atmospheric flight simulator in which you'll control spacecraft on and around a full-size planet. There are 2 different game modes, a series of missions across multiple maps, and a rogue mode that works like a standard free flight. You'll fly a selection of spacecrafts, completing transport and search missions. The environment has been implemented with great attention to detail, including realistic orbital physics and accurate atmospheric conditions with appropriate aerodynamics. Mastering spacecraft in flight of Nova is not an easy task, since there are a large number of variables to balance. To name just a few, gravity, air resistance, and air friction all have an impact on the behavior of your spaceship. It's important to know all these factors well in order to adapt accordingly and land successfully. Apart from the realism, another impressive feature is the seamless flying from space to the planet's surface, something not found in most other space games with a similar theme. Flight of Nova is currently in early access and will be released for Windows PC sometime in the future. There is a downloadable demo that you can try out right now. You can find the link in the description below. In 11th place is The Boundary, a multiplayer tactical space shooter game set in zero gravity in Earth orbit. It is heavily inspired by real-world industrial technology and space exploration, and features a varied selection of multiplayer maps, including a wreckage-strewn debris field, a solar farm, and more. However, The Boundary is not a typical FPS shooter. Thanks to your Extravehicular Mobility Unit spacesuit, or EMU for short, you can move in all 3 dimensions while facing threats from every angle. Because of this control method, it sometimes feels like you are piloting a spaceship rather than a living being trapped in a claustrophobic environment. Muffled gunshot sounds and intense communication chatter add to this unique and eerie atmosphere of cold space. EMU spacesuits and weapons can be customized and personalized to your liking. Choose from a variety of stocks, grips, scopes, barrels, and ammo types to modify and upgrade your primary weapon to better fit your playstyle and give your character a unique look. Boundaries certainly looks like it will be an interesting multiplayer title. If you're looking for some space deathmatch action, you'll be able to get it in 2023 when Boundary releases for Windows PC. Next up at number 10 comes Fragile Existence, a grand strategy game in a survival setting. The story begins when alien ships of unknown origin invade the Sol system and make their way to Earth, destroying everything in their path and leaving nothing but devastation in their wake. Pursued by this relentless threat, you'll take command of humanity's last fleet and try to survive against seemingly impossible odds. Game modes include a non-linear single-player campaign and a skirmish/scenario mode. To survive, you will plot a course from system to system and explore the worlds there in search of resources essential for survival. The planets you land on are merely temporary bases from which you can gather resources to reinforce your fleet while being pursued. Space battles usually take place in the orbit of a planet, with fleets moving along the orbital sphere. In these battles, you'll use various ships, from agile fighters to large capital behemoths. On the planet's surface, you'll collect resources and train units using more traditional RTS systems, such as base building and construction. These two systems are not separate, but require seamless interaction between space and ground units. Dropships are used to transport units to and from the ground, while ships can attack ground units and vice versa. Fragile Existence will also offer deep customization of ships and ground units, as well as fully integrated editors for planets, systems, and custom scenarios. This interesting mix of survival mechanics and strategy elements will be released for Windows PC either in late 2022 or early 2023. Moving up to number 9, there is Moon Mystery, a thrilling first-person shooter adventure that involves uncovering secrets and exploring strange new worlds. Players must use their wits and skills to overcome the challenges of the most dangerous environment known to mankind. The story-driven narrative explores an alternate view of why we went to the moon in the first place and what exactly happened to our first permanent lunar base where it all went wrong. Together with the sole survivor, the AI computer, find out what happened to the previous mission. Traverse a hostile alien environment and encounter huge abandoned bases. Control multiple vehicles, such as spaceships, radio-controlled cars, lunar rovers, and even a submarine to cross interstellar worlds and solve many puzzles that await you. The game was developed with Unreal Engine 4 and is characterized by unforgettable epic scenes. It's inspired by the movie Interstellar, as well as games such as Firewatch and Half-Life 2. We will finally be able to experience what happens when you fly into a black hole. Although the possibility of Mac and console versions has not been completely ruled out, Moon Mystery will only be available on PC at launch in 2023. Continuing with number 8, we have Space, a space station sim with survival and tower defense elements set in a large asteroid belt. The core of the game is managing mining operations to extract as much material as possible from asteroids and sell it to a central platform for maximum profit. Since there is no autopilot, you'll have to manually position the objects in the correct places, taking into account Newtonian physics and the 6 degrees of freedom that realistically affect all trajectories. The challenge is that you'll occasionally be attacked by aliens that feel disturbed by your presence in their asteroid belt. Therefore, you'll have to build a good defense system to protect expensive industrial facilities. The station and its components are modular, with many different attachments that will let you build autonomous mining colonies. If you want to try the game yourself, you can download the demo version from the link provided in the description. Space is coming to Windows PC and is currently in early access. The full release date has yet to be announced. Before we continue, if you liked this video, please consider hitting that like button, subscribe if you are new to the channel, and enable all notifications by clicking the notification bell icon. Following at number 7, there is SpaceBourne 2, a single-player space shooter with RPG elements based on Unreal Engine 4 and played from the third-person perspective. The sequel to SpaceBourne, developed by a single person, offers significant improvements in both graphics and gameplay mechanics compared to the first game. You'll start your adventure by creating a highly customizable character, choosing appearance, class, attributes, and background. The game offers numerous possibilities through missions that take place in tens of thousands of procedurally generated solar systems and landable planets. Ships play an important role in your space adventure since they provide both combat capabilities and transportation. A large part of the game is based on upgrading your ship with different equipment, weapons, and components. SpaceBourne 2 is packed with tons of features and gameplay activities such as roguelike dungeons, mining operations, shipwreck salvage, NPC companions, factions and diplomacy system, and much more. At first glance, there are some similarities between SpaceBourne 2 and Star Citizen, but upon closer inspection it becomes clear that SpaceBourne 2 falls short in terms of details, ship interiors, first-person gameplay, and multiplayer capabilities, all of which are hallmarks of Star Citizen. It's also unclear whether the game will offer a seamless transition from space to planetary surfaces and vice versa. The lack of information suggests that it will have the same or similar limitations as the first game. However, SpaceBourne 2 does not try to be anything other than a reasonably interesting title that offers a handful of possibilities to make your space dreams come true. We will have answers to all these questions and more once it's released for Windows PC on January 13th, 2023. At number 6 is the Pegasus Expedition, a combination of an epic science fiction story and a solid space strategy game set at a crucial moment for humanity's survival. Faced with an overwhelming threat at home, humanity sends expeditions to the Pegasus galaxy in a desperate attempt to find a place of refuge for Earth's population. Throughout the story, you'll have an extensive dialogue with your council and make important decisions together. You'll have to make difficult moral decisions to secure the future of the human race. With over 30 independent factions in the galaxy, one wrong step can mean the difference between being welcomed with open arms or being met with suspicion and hostility. Combat takes place by assigning predefined tactics and moving the fleet into starting positions, with optional active abilities to use during the battle. Although you'll be able to let the battle play out automatically, it is recommended that you set the strategy yourself to have the best chance of success. Other features are fairly common for this type of games and follow the usual 4X formula. You'll conquer different systems and build a working economy to support your fleet, as well as engage in diplomacy to find potential allies with common interests. Research and develop new technologies, such as deadly superviruses that can wipe out entire alien life forms with minimal effort. The Pegasus Expedition is coming to Windows PC and is currently in early access. The full version is expected to be released in mid-2023. Next up at number 5, there is Age of Space, an RTS game set in our solar system. If the Expanse TV series were a strategy game, this is what a full-on Earth vs. Mars war would look like. You will have the full freedom to choose which faction to side with, Earth or Mars. Age of Space combines resource management and tactical combat in 3D. Build and expand your mining outpost while collecting resources in real time. Your starting point in the game is the star map, from which you'll be able to take on different types of contracts, such as storyline or side missions, mining, or even piracy operations. After you build and customize massive warships in your shipyard, you'll be placed in an instance-based combat scenario. Pilot your spacecraft in 3 dimensions from a third-person perspective, while the rest of the fleet is controlled by the AI, your friends, or a combination of both. The game will include some light RPG elements and a co-op mode in which you'll be able to play any mission except for some solo ones together with up to 3 friends. Age of Space will be released for Windows PC and has no firm release date yet. Moving on to number 4, we have Ixion, a space colony management game that combines city building, survival elements, and exploration. As the administrator of the Tycoon space station, your journey will be full of dangers as you search for a new home for humanity in the Proxima Centauri system. Ixion is heavily inspired by Frostpunk, except that now instead of the harsh volcanic winter on Earth, you'll confront the cold depths of space. Population management is a key aspect of the gameplay. This will not be an easy task given the limited options you have. You'll have to provide your crew with food, happiness, and hope, since failing to meet these requirements can get you removed from your position. In order to travel to our nearest solar system, you'll have to build the necessary infrastructure, research and unlock new technologies, deal with random events, and manage the station's energy flow. During the narrative campaign, you'll be able to upgrade your station's hull and add new external features, such as huge solar panels to meet the ever-increasing power consumption. On your journey, you will utilize solar maps to explore, search for resources, and possibly encounter other survivors of previous missions. You'll have the choice to rescue them and bring them on board, or leave them to their own demise. Ixion definitely has the potential to be one of the better survival colony management games on the market when it is released on December 7, 2022 for Windows PC. At number 3, there's Terra Invicta, an incredibly ambitious strategy game that follows humanity's first contact with extraterrestrial life forms. You begin on Earth as the leader of a shadowy organization dedicated to your chosen ideology and responding to an imminent extraterrestrial threat. In Terra Invicta, you'll fight against the other 6 factions for control points that represent the military, economic, and political leadership of a region. You'll be expected to lead humanity's first steps in colonizing our solar system, where over 300 asteroids, moons, and planets in constant motion form an ever-changing strategic map. Once you start conquering other celestial bodies, you'll build space stations that will serve as shipyards and fuel depots, establish mining stations to extract advanced resources, and set up research and construction facilities. The design of the spaceships in Terra Invicta is based on the best scientific speculations and hard science fiction. Tactical combat in space is based on a realistic simulation of Newtonian physics, where momentum and maneuvering in 3D space are as important as the firepower of your ships. The complex nature of Terra Invicta is accompanied by a similarly convoluted UI that oversees every facet of the geopolitical simulations taking place simultaneously throughout the whole solar system. As the game progresses, it becomes increasingly difficult to process the sheer amount of information on the interface and keep track of what is relevant to your cause. Due to its complexity, this game will only appeal to the most die-hard strategy enthusiasts who will not mind the steep learning curve. Terra Invicta is coming to Windows PC and is currently in early access. The full release date has not been announced yet. In second place, we have Star Trek Resurgence, a narrative-driven adventure game with dialogue options, relationship building, and exploration, set in the time immediately following the last Star Trek: The Next Generation movie. The game is being developed by Dramatic Labs, an independent collaboration of former Telltale members. Star Trek Resurgence follows 2 main characters through a single epic story, with gameplay switching between characters. In addition to dialogue-driven role-playing and rich branching storylines, you'll experience the Star Trek universe in a variety of other gameplay styles, including shuttle piloting, phaser combat, tricorder scanning, stealth, and micro-gameplay mechanics. The narrative format, supported by excellent voice actors, is an ideal opportunity to include various intergalactic scenarios with problems and conflicts that only the Federation can solve. You'll be sent on diplomatic missions in which you'll decide the fate of entire planets and alien civilizations. From the first gameplay reveals, it was clear that Resurgence is trying to capture the spirit of the 90s series. Everything looks and feels like Star Trek. The layout of the bridge, the authentic sounds of the replicators, and even the dialogue seem to have been taken directly from an episode of TNG or DS9. Star Trek Resurgence will be released in April 2023 for Windows PC, PlayStation 4 and 5, and Xbox Series X and S. And finally, at number 1 we have Sins of a Solar Empire 2, a sequel to the popular 4X real-time strategy game from 15 years ago, which for many is still the pinnacle of space strategy games. In Sins of a Solar Empire 2, you will take on the role of a galactic empire that fights for space domination with all available means. You are responsible for managing the resources of Empire, developing military, and expanding your territory. An important new combat mechanic is that turrets and missiles actually move and shoot at targets in real time. There is now more emphasis on intelligent ship positioning, as large capital ships with heavy armor can fend off missile fire with point defense systems. Another big change from the previous game is that the galaxy is always in motion, with planets orbiting stars and moons orbiting planets. This brings a whole new dynamic to route planning and the rhythm of the conflict. Apart from the obvious graphical improvements, other gameplay elements such as diplomacy, trade, the bounty system, the new user interface, and the multiplayer mode have been significantly improved and equipped with new features. Sins of a Solar Empire 2 is only available on PC and is currently in the first phase of an early access. The full release date has not been announced yet, but based on the official roadmap, we hope for a late 2023 or early 2024 release. So which of these games are you most looking forward to? Let us know down in the comments below. Consider hitting the like button if you found this video helpful, or subscribing if you're new to the channel. Many thanks for watching, and until next time, have a ton of fun.